Hello, everyone. I'm Miss Wilson, life science teacher at Albert Hill Middle School, and I'm so happy to have you back again this week, week 7, day 1 of our life science virtual lessons. This week, we'll be learning about LS10 A and B, and I know you're excited to find out what that's all about. First of all, we will follow the 5 E's again this week. On day 1, we will be getting engaged by watching some video observations along with an image and doing our see, think, and wonders. We will also explore by conducting 2 optional labs that I hope you enjoy. On day 2, we'll come back and we will do the explain by watching the explain video where you'll see me talking to you about LS10 A and B scientifically. And then you'll also watch a hibernation video on BrainPop, as well as conduct an optional tropisms lab. That'll be your extend portion to start applying what you're learning. And then on day 3, you will get a chance to evaluate your learning by playing the Kahoot and a Legends of Learning playlist to see if you understand this new information. Okay, so let's get engaged by looking at these 3 pictures. What do they have in common? Are these animals that you recognize? In your science student workbook, you can start getting ready to gear up your mind to talk about these things. And on day 2, when we come back and explain, I will tell you the connection between these 3 pictures and LS10, A, and B. But let's see again. We've got bears. We've got this tree here. And this is a hedgehog. What do they have in common? Okay. As I mentioned, your life science student workbook should definitely be handy. You can make a copy of it so that you can type into the file. You have to do that in order to be able to type into it. So you have to make a copy and it'll save it to your drive, and then you can type in it. Alrighty. So we have our See, Think, and Wonder chart. I know you're pretty familiar with it. Today, the first video we're going to look at is going to be of a resurrection plant. So as you watch this video, you're going to try to see, to type in 3 things that you see, 3 things that you think are going on in this video, and then 3 things that this video makes you wonder. So let's check that out now. The resurrection plant is also called the Rose of Jericho, and that's the plant. Okay, so we should go back to our life science student workbook and type in, if we haven't done so, the 3 things that we see, that we think, and that we wonder because of that resurrection plant video, and type that in. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to look at an image. It's a picture, and it's going to be a picture of a plant on a shelf, and you're going to be looking for things that you see, what it makes you think, and what it makes you wonder. So here is the plant on the shelf. Now, after looking at that plant, what did you see going on in that image? What do you think is happening? And what are 3 things that this picture makes you wonder about? Go ahead and type that in if you haven't done so. And we're going to move on to our last video for today, which is our Frogsicles video. Frogsicles. I already have thoughts about that. So let's see.
The wood frog has an astounding ability. It can produce antifreeze. This seemingly ordinary amphibian can survive at temperatures as low as 3 degrees Fahrenheit and then come back to life. Winter is coming, and the wood frog prepares for the big freeze. It starts to produce huge amounts of urine, but unlike us, it doesn't drain this waste. It stores it in its blood. As the first ice crystals creep over the frog's skin, an incredible transformation begins. The water in the frog's blood starts to freeze. The ice sucks the precious water out of the frog's cells. To prevent full-scale dehydration, the liver begins to make large amounts of glucose. As the sugar mixes with the urine in the blood, it creates homemade antifreeze.
Wow.
This concoction packs into the frog cells, propping them up. The antifreeze prevents too much water being drawn out of the cells by the ice outside. If they lose more than 60% of their water, the process becomes irreversible. The cells will crumple and die from frostbite. The frog's antifreeze keeps him alive. The wood frog enters a state of suspended animation. Its internal organs and metabolic activity grind to a near halt. The lungs stop working, and the heart eventually stops beating. The wood frog can survive for months, with an incredible 2/3 of their body completely frozen.
Wow.
To the point where they are essentially Frogsicles. After a grueling 8 months, spring arrives. The temperature's warm, and the ice starts to melt. Hidden within his frozen tomb, the wood frog also begins to thaw. Water slowly flows back into his cells. They rehydrate and return to their original shape. Within 30 minutes, the heart restarts and the blood begins to flow.
Wow.
The wood frog comes back to life. After 2 days, the frog heads out to look for some food, a mate, and a much-awaited pee.
All right, so that was very exciting. I hope that,
The wood frog.
oops, I hope that you were able to jot down the 3 things that you, hmm, sorry, the 3 things that you saw, 3 things that this video made you think, and 3 things that this video made you wonder, and that you type them into your student workbook. Okay, if you haven't, you can do that now, or you can go back and watch those when you need to, and all of that will be fine. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is you can notice here that there is a Padlet icon. If you haven't done that, we'll talk about that a little bit later. but there's a link there. And then you have your optional field observation lab. That's the first optional lab for today. So with this lab, all you need is basically your student workbook. You can take your laptop with you, or if you want to take a piece of paper outside with you and then transfer it back to your notebook later, that also works. So here's what you're going to need. You're going to need basically your something to write on or write with, or your student workbook. You're going to need something like your phone that you can use to check the current time and the current temperature. Okay, so you're going to go outside with your phone and you are going to jot down wherever you are, what the temperature is and what time of day it is. And then you're going to enter that into your student workbook lab sheet. So let me scroll up for you. All right. So in your student workbook here, which is day 1, bird field observation. All right. So you're going to put the time that you're going out first and then the temperature it is outside. And then you're going to wait for about 2 minutes and count the number of birds that you see during this time. Okay. So however many birds you see, if it's 0, you put 0 during that time, you put that there for 2 minutes. And then you're going to go back inside. You're going to come back in a couple of hours later or minutes later, whatever, as long as it's warmer or colder at that time. And you're going to jot down your second time. And then you're going to record the temperature it is then. And then you're going to see if what the number of birds is at that time. Are there more? Are there less? The same amount? I don't know. But you're going to find out and you're going to jot that down. And then you're going to pick another time, a third time, and you're going to do the exact same thing. Record the temperature, record the time, and then wait about 2 minutes, observe as many birds as you can, and then count the number of birds that you see. You want to use the same location each time so you can sketch out what that location looks like. You can also go ahead and sketch out the birds that you saw or take a picture of them and put that here in this box. Okay. And then you have some questions to recap. At what temperature or time of day did you see the most birds? And why do you think that happened? So that's the first optional activity. This one does not require any extra resources except it's a device that you can use to record the temperature and the time. All right, so there's another optional lab. This one is called Turning Seeds. And with this lab, you do need a few items, but I think these are items that you should have. So you need a plastic Ziploc sandwich bag. You need 4 seeds or beans. If you don't have seeds, you can get out of the cabinet. And you want to have them sitting in water as you're waiting to set this up, okay? So then you need 1 paper towel that's soaked in water. You need some tape. You need a cabinet. You need a stapler. That's a just in case. And you need a marker. So it gives you the directions here. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to take your seeds and you're going to turn them into specific directions. And it tells you in the steps here which directions those seeds need to be on. And once you place them on top of that wet paper towel, you're going to turn 1 straight up, 1 to the left, 1 down, and then 1 to the right. And then you're going to place that all in your sandwich bag, and you're going to tape it to the inside of a cabinet so that you can see the seeds. The directions explain that, so I'm not going to read them to you, but hopefully you'll understand what you need to do. If you're confused about the direction of the seeds, in the data table for day 1, I did include a picture of the direction for each seed. So as you have them on your paper towel, 1 seed will have the pointed end face upward, 1 will have the pointed end face to the left, 1 will have the pointed end face down, and 1 will have the pointed end face to the right. If you're using beans, you're going to use that curved part of the bean, and that's going to serve as your pointed end. Point it in, and you'll turn that curved part either so it's facing up, left, down, or to the right. Okay, so you're gonna put it in the cabinet, and prior to that, you can sketch out what it looks like on your paper towel and in your baggie. Okay, then you're gonna make a hypothesis of what direction do you think that the roots are gonna grow out of these seeds. So they're turning different directions. Will that make the roots grow out in different directions? Will they grow out in the same direction? I don't know. So in this column here, you're going to make a hypothesis, and you're either going to draw an arrow pointed up, left, down, or to the right. Okay? Then each day, you're going to come back, you're going to observe your seeds, keeping them in that closed cabinet, but observing them, taking a picture of what they look like or sketching what they look like. and then you're going to make any written observations that you have about what's happening. Okay, so do that for the next 3 days. And then there's a couple of questions here. Do you think the seed direction will affect the direction of the roots that the roots will grow in, and why do you think so? So that is your second optional activity. All right. And that will get you set for the week. So the next thing we have here is you can share your See, Think, and Wonder on Padlet. Okay, so I do have the link to the Padlet in the student workbook. Here I have two images that were shared with us. These were from week 5, day 1. And this is one of the students. His name is Ellis. Thank you so much for sharing this with us, Ellis. But Ellis did the ecosystem in the bottle, and this was his day 1 of his ecosystem in the bottle. And I really, really appreciate him sharing these images with me. So once again, as you do these optional labs or your See, Think, and Wonders, you can share that with me on the Padlet link. All you have to do is click the link, and you can just insert your picture, or you can make a comment of what you saw, thought, and wondered when you watched the videos. And if you do, I will definitely give you a shout out, just like I did with Ellis, who's an awesome student at Albert Hill Middle School. I'll do the same thing with you during the week 9 video. Okay, so we are all set for a week of learning life science, LS10 A and B, short-term adaptations. Go ahead and finish out the rest of your day and get your work done. And I'll see you again on day 2 with our explain video. Thank you so much.